Hey, welcome everybody to the live. Thank you so much for joining me. I am happy that you have made the biggest time investment that you can make in yourself. Like that is the biggest investment period that you can make is time in yourself. And so I am going to be talking about how you can increase your revenue, your income as a mental health professional. And it doesn't necessarily have to be limited to the mental health industry, but the last one is for sure. And I'm going to cater to specifically mental health clinicians. So if you haven't already, I want to make sure that you follow me on LinkedIn, Jeremiah Rankins MA. Make sure that y'all follow me over there because I'm going to be dropping more content. I just got more equipment, so I love streaming. This has become a hobby for me, and I'm going to drop these gems. So I've got less than 20 minutes to spit out 5 different ideas, strategies, and techniques for you to go ahead and increase your income. So let's get into it. I'm going to ship over to Canva. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys, and you all are going to be actually seeing a live, I guess, demonstration of me mind mapping how you can generate income. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to jump over here. Okay, made it smaller. Let's do that. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger that way. Okay. So I'm gonna do this in vivo, like in live. I'm gonna be talking about different ways that you can increase your income and either create a side hustle or this will become your main hustle. Now, the very first thing is very cliche, but I'm gonna show you how it can be most effective. The very first thing that I want to talk about is a physical product. When we talk about physical products, you're like, well, affiliate marketing, where you don't have to it doesn't have to be your own. You didn't produce it. You didn't buy it from the manufacturer and have them produce it for you, package it and all that other stuff. There's affiliate marketing, which is different from the actual physical product. Now, I'm using Canva right now to create this presentation. If you can see, I'm going to blow it up at the very end, but I'm using Canva to create this presentation. If I wanted to create something to where I could print it out, it could be a booklet, it could be a calendar, it could be a journal, it could be any type of product to where it could be related to mental health or not. And you can print it actually from here. They will do all the printing and send it to you, and all you have to do is package it and mail it out to whoever you sell your product to. You can create digital products or products on Canva, but I'm not promoting Canva. I'm just giving you an example of a physical product. Let's talk about, I'll give you an example of how I wrote a book. Mental health clinicians, people who have a specialty in the area, they write books because one, it adds more credibility. They become more expert in that field if they wrote the book on it, right? So I wrote the book on it. It's a cliche saying. When you write a book, it does absolutely nothing if you do not have a platform. I wrote a book in 2020. I had no social media following, none. I had no social media following. I wanted to build a social media following, so I added random people on Facebook, and they connected with me, and I had almost 5,000 people on Facebook. But they didn't know me. They didn't care about me. They were just connected with me. That's different from people who are loyal to who you are. They like you, they know you, and they will support you. I didn't have that. In 2020, I wrote a book and it did nothing for me. And I quickly learned that being an author, a best-selling author, means absolutely nothing. I say best-selling author because you can create you can go ahead and upload a book on Amazon and a very low market. And I don't know, sci-fi anime, that's a very big one, but sci-fi anime. And you can put your book in this specific category, and you can have 10 or 15 people buy your book in that specific category, and you're a now bestseller author on Amazon. That means nothing because nobody in that niche, in that category, buys books. So, anyways, my point is, whenever I created this product, I didn't have the audience, I didn't have a market. And there's 2 ways that you can do this. On physical products, there's 2 ways that you can do this. One is you create an email list. When you create the email list, you're either creating a lead page magnet to where you are on Facebook. What is it? Facebook ads. So you create Facebook ads and you're giving an offer, something free. You're giving away for free 5 tips, or read this article, or here is some tips from a licensed clinician on how you can, I don't know, uh, help your son with ADHD, or, it's got to be something free. Okay. Whether it's a checklist, whether it's this research study, whether it's the 5 best things or the 5 recommendations that I have, whatever it is, give away something free in exchange for the email. The email is actually payment for your product, your digital product. So there's one way is to have a product, a physical product. There's other ways to market this. You've got, Facebook ads, you've got marketing in general. You can market it. You can put it into a marketing campaign and you can sell that way. You can create an email list and retarget them that way. The other way is to build a social media audience. If you already have a social media audience, a presence, awesome. That's great. But most of the time, when you build a social media presence, people become not only followers, but they become supporters of you. They like you. They know you because you show up consistently. So the social media presence is the easiest way to sell physical products. People aren't going to tell you that. People are not going to tell you. So I've got one Facebook group with almost 800 people, or maybe over 800 people. I used to have a YouTube channel that had over 14,000 subscribers. I've got a Instagram channel that's got over 8,000 people on it. But those are relatively small social media accounts, relatively speaking. And even with those small social media following, I don't have 50% of them who are loyal followers, who like me, who know me, who are loyal followers, meaning they're not going to necessarily buy anything that I put out there. So when you start from scratch and you're able to build that loyal following, TikTok is the easiest, fastest way to grow. But whenever you grow those loyal fans, those subscribers, those followers, those people who care, like, and know you, then the physical product becomes super easy. But until then, I wouldn't invest that time. I would build the following base first. I would build the subscriber base first, then create the product, then invest in selling a product. If you're a mental health clinician, just generating ideas for you, weighted blankets. Google it after you get off this live, weighted blankets. That is a great way that you can sell a physical product out of your practice, on social media, on your online store. Weighted blankets. People don't know that. Like, what is the weighted blanket? What is the therapeutic compound, the therapeutic benefit behind having weighted blankets? Weighted blankets in therapy. It doesn't have to be a big one. It could be a small one. Weighted blankets in therapy. It's grounding. It's great. So anyways, that was just one idea for generating income as a mental health professional or someone who needs a side hustle. The other one, as a mental health professional, is business to business consulting. Consulting is something that is not as hard as you think. It's about putting yourself out there and asking for a meeting. That's all it's about. Hey, my name is blah, 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 blah. This is what I do. I would like to sit down with the CEO. I would like to sit down with the president. I would like to sit down of blah, blah, blah of HR. And you sit down, and when you get that meeting, you tell them what you can offer to their employees. If you can offer CEUs, that'd be awesome. But you don't want to start off doing that, because that is another time and financial investment that you don't want to get into if you're not already having customers. But the best way that you can position yourself is, one, have a niche, have something that you're really good at, cultural diversity and inclusion. You can do with the LGBTQ cultural sensitivity when it comes down to youth and adolescents and the schools, excuse me, in the school system, in the school district. There's so many different ways that you can market a training, put it together. You don't have to make it up from scratch. You don't have to make up your training from scratch. You can use ChatGPT. There's so many online resources that you can use, but you as the professional can position yourself as that go-to person to teach this, because not only do you have the license behind your name, but you also have the credibility. So you want to go business to business is one of the easiest ways to grow, the biggest ways, financially lucrative ways to grow as a mental health professional. Now, let me go ahead and put this in here. I'm going to go ahead and I guarantee you I'm going to fix this up. I'm going to put the notes down there of the different ideas on the physical products. You can write a book. You can weighted blankets. I'll throw several different ideas on there. But let's look at the rest of them. The next one. Did I spell that right? Consultant. Yes. So the next one that I wanted to focus on is government contracts. This is one of my favorites. I have government contracts right now. So my biggest contract that I have is with the Department of Family and Protective Services here in Houston, Texas. Texas. I'm licensed here in the state of Texas. And so I've got a contract with DFPS, our CPS. And I don't know why I didn't. Okay. Let me go ahead and put that in there before I forget. Government contracts. Now, when you look at government contracts, someone wants to join my live. No, I can't do it right now. But when you look at government contracts, you have to think outside of the box. There's so many different ways that you can get more income into your private practice, or you as a consultant or a professional, just by leveraging your skills and positioning yourself. So let me give you an example. I've got to talk this out. United Way. This is off the cuff. This is off the head. United Way has large contracts with federal government, local, state governments. Okay. So you partner with United Way to offer services to refugees. You offer services to domestic women who are seeking shelter from an abusive relationship. So they have children. Like, you have a specific niche. So United Way has the big contracts. They need little agencies underneath them, private practices, small agencies, small groups, small mom and pop companies to offer services so they can fulfill those big contracts that they have. If that makes sense, I hope it does. So you would subcontract with United Way. You don't necessarily have to go for the big contract like United Way has. You can subcontract, go ahead and build momentum. And whenever you get bigger, you can go for those larger contracts. Okay. So government contracts is a really, really, really big thing for me, because that is all I want to base my income on. Like, seriously, like, that is the biggest income generating source that I have. And when we look at money, when we talk about money in the mental health profession, I want you all not to feel so apprehensive about this, because I guarantee you, a family doctor, a family practitioner, a nurse practitioner who focuses on pediatric nurse, like, I guarantee you they want to maximize their income. I guarantee you they get paid much more than a mental health professional does. So they want to ask and they demand and they require a certain level of payment. But when it comes to mental health, we see all these mass pew-pews on television. We see so many people unaliving themselves, and we say mental health is so important, but we won't put the financial backing behind it. We as mental health professionals have to set our own standard for our quality of service. We need to set our own standard of how we value ourselves, because if we don't, no one else will. It's okay to charge. It is okay to go get those contracts, provide good quality service, and be reimbursed fairly for what we do. Don't feel guilty about talking about money. Do not feel shameful about this. We need to have these conversations more openly on a regular basis. So let's move on. Government contracts. I hope I talked enough about that. If you are specifically talking about mental health professionals, you focus on women who have been SA'd, okay, assaulted. So you focus on that population because of whatever reason, history, a personal experience, whatever reason, that is what you focus on is women and children, or women. When we talk about getting contracts with the city, with local governments, there are contracts, nonprofit and for profit, that you can get to service that population that will pay you handsomely for your services. Go get them. Find them. Find those opportunities. They're not hard. They're not hard. They're there. Let's move on to number 4, trainings and courses. I have a training and courses is something that I focus on heavily. And the reason why, y'all listen to this, please. Please focus on this. Training and e-courses, online courses. I don't know how to put that. Let's see. Courses. I'm just going to put courses here. Training and courses. So you are already a professional. Maybe you're in your provisional license, you're going into the profession as a student. You're already a professional. When you get your alphabet, your licensed professional counselor, your LMSW, LCSW, you are a licensed marriage and family therapist. You are licensed. You have now become an expert. Now, an expert in what is the question? Because if you graduate with your master's degree in psychology field, a psychological field, and you just go out and you service everybody, you're for nobody. So finding that niche, that specific yummy client that you love to service, that becomes your specialty. And how you become an expert, you write books, you create courses and trainings, you level yourself up by doing the work and showing the proof, whether it's social proof on social media, on creating a blog on your website, and you have 50 blog posts on something very specific in your niche. Whatever it is, you are going to become the go-to because you have all these things that you have done, you have accomplished. Okay. So when you become that professional, when you become that that go-to person in that specific niche, I've got 3 minutes, y'all. I'm going to wrap it up. When you become that go-to person in that niche, then that's when you create a course or a training. You have to build up the social proof because nobody knows you unless you put out the marketing behind it or you have a large social media presence. So you want to build up your social media presence, or you want to just buy it. Go ahead and purchase it. Create a podcast. Go ahead and market that. Go ahead and create a campaign, marketing campaign for whatever course or training that you have. Get people to know you, like you, follow you, and then buy you. Okay, that is exactly what needs to happen. But when you create the course, it's not just the knowledge that you have. I'm going to use mine. Well, because it goes into number 5, I'll save it. But I created a course. I created a training that I was knowledgeable about. Then on top of that, I had someone very close to me that was a level up, that knew more about some of the legality behind what I was doing. So combined, I created a product, and now I sell that. Let me give you the last final tip before I go into number 5. Let me tell you something. The way that you create generational wealth, the way that you create income streams that makes your life easier, and you create a inheritance for your children's children, is get people to subscribe. Subscription-based plans is how wealthy people continue to get wealthy. My wife has a membership with a car wash, right? And before, car washes never had a monthly subscription. But they realized the business model that these large The streaming companies, the Netflix, the Hulu, the HBO, everybody is going to a subscription-based plan, a program. That is how you get wealth. Gym memberships, most of you who join this live have some type of yoga gym membership and a personal trainer. That is how you create wealth. Not necessarily the personal trainer, the online personal trainer that sells their product that is residual, meaning they have recordings online and they sell those programs, not people where you go to the gym because they're exchanging their time for money. Not the same thing. So the online coaches and those types of platforms where you can create a product and you don't necessarily have to continue to treat it and update it and be there every day to earn your income. So subscription-based plans is the best way that you create an income that generates generational wealth. Subscription-based plans. How do you do that? In the mental health profession, you can create boxes. You can create boxes. So when you sign up $150 a month, you create a package of like $30. So the return on investment is worth it. And you ship it out to them. And it's going to have games, maybe cards. Maybe it's going to be self-help. It's going to self-help tips. It's going to have I don't know, whatever it is, you're going to send them a small box every month to remind them to take care and love themselves. Mental health, whatever you want to call it, health keeper, I don't know, whatever it is, a health in a box, mental health in a box. And you get people to register and sign up once a month. It's a payment once a month that they send you. It's $150. You spend less than that and get your return on investment by having that monthly subscription. How do you market that? You put it out on Facebook ads, you put it out on television ads. When I say television, streaming ads, Hulu, Netflix, what is the music one? It's really expensive, but it works. I'm pulling it up right now, you guys. It's not Pandora, it's Spotify. I'm sorry, I'm not a big fan of Spotify. So Spotify, also those Spotify ads, they work. Spotify is the leading music streaming app in the world. And so if you put an advertisement on Spotify, you hit it really, really hard, return on investment. There's so many ways that you can market these skills, but I'm all out of time. I'm 2 minutes over. So I'm going to jump into my last and final tip. And this is specifically for licensed mental health clinicians. I said fully licensed. Let me reiterate, fully licensed mental health clinicians. If you are not fully licensed mental health clinician, maybe you're in a provisional license, you're a student, you can do this work. But to do this, practice this independently and increase your income, and all of the payment goes to you, you need to be practicing independently. You need to be fully licensed. And that is immigration evaluations. I'm a huge advocate for immigration evaluations because it transformed my practice. So immigration evaluations is basically a psychological evaluation that encompasses a clinical interview, a background, asking them their history, psychological history. You're gathering as much data and information. Self-report measures, typically self-report measures where you're going to assess for depression, anxiety, PTSD, any type of trauma from their history. You're going to score those assessments. You're going to basically write a report and conceptualize everything that you put together from your findings from that evaluation. And that right there services the global community of people who want to come to the United States and stay in the United States the legal way. And I'm going to transition you all from my mind map to the immigration evaluation portion of this training. I'll be right back in just a few.
Jumping out the whip, shit cold. Watching my stepgram froze. Most my day spent alone. Tim and my bro, he knows. Gotta pay dues. Walking in mud, you can check my shoes. Tryna bite this, might chip your tooth. Tryna come with you, fake no room.
So, you know, when we talk about immigration evaluations, there's several questions that people have, and I'm going to answer the most frequently asked questions that I receive whenever I tell people about this. First and foremost, this is like a hidden gem. And I say it's a hidden gem because in grad school, it's not talked about. People do not talk about doing immigration evaluations or servicing the global community while you're in grad school. They just don't. They think about starting a private practice because once you get fully licensed, you can be your own business owner, and people love that. That's the glitz, the glamour of being a fully licensed clinician. You can have your own practice. You can be your own boss. You can have your own hours, and all that is sexy, but they don't talk about how you can make money. They talk about you niching down. They talk about you focusing on whatever you're passionate about, but they don't talk about how you can actually make money and income and transform your practice and your life. They don't. It's all about practicing. It's all about basically passing your exam, your licensing exam, and preparing you for, you know, the therapy part or the research, whatever you're studying, whether it's the PhD or the master's level. And so I wanted to introduce people to this because I was shocked at how much value it brought to me and my company, immigration evaluation. So you're going to get firsthand, you're going to get the firsthand tutorial. Like, this is going to be very in-depth. And those of you who are not interested in doing immigration evaluations, you are not a licensed clinician or studying to go into this field, you can jump off now. But for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to be focusing on, or 25 minutes, I'm going to be focusing on immigration evaluations and how this can transform your world, your practice, your side hustle, your whatever, because it did for me. It was my side hustle and it turned into my main hustle, and now that's all I love to do. So let's get into it. In today's increasingly diverse and globalized world, understanding how to effectively assess and support immigrant populations is essential for providing culturally sensitive and competent mental health care. So Your Guide to Immigration Evaluations is my brand. That is my product, my training that I created for clinicians. So on this piece of paper, I wrote down 5 different tips on how you can increase your income. And number 2 was consultant or business to business. And number 5 is immigration evaluations. And number 4 is trainings and courses. So on 3 of these tips, I'm implementing them right now in this course, in this training, in this webinar. And the trainings and course is YG. The immigration evaluation is the specialty, the niche that I have. And then the business to business is other mental health professionals who are in private practice or who just want to create a side hustle for themselves and want to explore this new niche of services that they can offer to create more income for themselves. Okay. So I implement these things. I created that list without even thinking about what I'm doing on the other end. The last one, number 5, immigration evaluations, was the only one that I wanted to use as a segue into this presentation. The rest of them, I just thought of earlier this week off the top of my head, and I just wanted to give you all some tips on them. So just to reiterate, physical product, number 1, consultant or business to business, number 2, government contracts, number 3, create a training or a course, an online course, and number 5 was immigration evaluations. So let's move on with the presentation on immigration evaluations, what to expect. So in this presentation, you're going to gain a thorough understanding of immigration evaluations and the importance in mental health practice. So I kind of talked about introducing what an immigration evaluation is, what it basically encompasses, and I mean that's basically it. I mean, I gave you the laydown of what it is. Learn about the legal and ethical considerations involved in conducting immigration evaluations. I'm not going to go too far in depth in that. I'm just going to touch the surface because I don't have a lot of time. You're going to explore assessment tools, techniques, and cultural considerations for comprehensive evaluations. Marketing, website optimization. That's the very last thing that I think I'm going to talk about. And the reason for that is because I teach clinicians how to do immigration evaluations. I teach people, I introduce them to what it is and how to do it most effectively, most efficiently, to get it done and create a great product. But at the end of the day, me getting clients to come through your door, it's just not what I'm specialized in. I give you lots of tips on how I did it, but I have an inside connect. My wife is an immigration attorney. I have no problem because of her connections. Now, she cannot just say, hey, go see my husband, right? That's unethical. That's not something that we've got going on. But because of her connections with other immigration, thank you for the follow. For her connections, I'm able to build a net, a web of immigration lawyers who trust in me, who believe in me, who know me because of their association with my wife, have a little bias towards me. Know that I teach people how to do immigration evaluations. So because I am so niched down in this service, I get those referrals. So I'm not the same. There's other people who have decided to take my course when it was $197. I've got this offer at the end. Y'all want to stay? Y'all want to stay for it? But when I first started off, I gave it away for free. Then I bumped up the price to $197. And there's levels to this, y'all. There's levels to this. When it was free, nobody valued it. When it was $197, they felt like it wasn't as beneficial as other trainings that were $1,500. So they didn't value it. So I increased the amount of the training, and one, because I brought more value to the course, but also because people just don't value a cheap product. It's funny, but I wanted to keep it affordable for students that are just graduated with their master's program. I wanted to keep it affordable for people who were not making a lot of money in this mental health profession. You can make this investment and still have your car note. You can still make your house payment. So $1,500 is a mortgage payment. Like, it's freaking damn. So anyways, but I get it, because this niche will teach you how to fish for a lifetime. Once you learn how to do immigration evaluations, as long as your license is still up to date, up to par, and in good standing, you will be able to make money off of providing services to the global community for the rest of your professional career. So let's go ahead and my office is super hot, guys. So let's get into it. U.S. immigration. I'm going to talk about the several different types of way U.S. citizenship and the path to citizenship or legalization come. Asylum and refugee system. Just giving some background. A lot of you may already have an understanding of immigration, the system, or the process, but a lot of people don't, and so that's why I want to get into it. Let's see here. So, asylum and refugee system. The U.S. provides asylum to individuals who have fled persecution or fear persecution in their home countries based on their race, religion, and nationality, political opinion, or membership in a particular social group. So, a membership in a particular social group can also go with sexuality. If you identify in the LGBTQ community, there are lots of people who are being persecuted or fear persecution because of the affiliation or their identity. Diverse visa categories. The U.S. offers various types of visas for different purposes, including employment, family reunification, education, investment, and asylum. Each visa category has specific eligibility criteria and application procedures. So in my course, in my training, I don't want to focus necessarily on the details of each asylum, or asylum, or U visa, or the types of visas. I want you to have a general understanding of these. We're not the legal department. I want to focus specifically on mental health. Mental health, mental health, mental health. That is all we want to focus on, and being objective in these assessments, in these evaluations. Green card, pathway to legal permanent residence. Legal permanent residents, green card holders have the right to live and work permanently in the United States. There are various pathways to obtaining a green card, including family sponsorship, employment sponsorship, diversity visa lottery, and humanitarian programs. Those are just some pathways to legalization here in the United States. I didn't want to go into detail about that. If you all, let me go ahead and stop sharing this screen here. I'm going to present this. Let me see here. I want you all to, I'm going to take a quick break, and I'm going to go over to my Beacons link. If you all check this link out, I want you all to look at the very top here is a subscribe, and there's a bell. If you go ahead and click subscribe and fill in your first, your last name, and give me an email, this is what's going to happen. You're going to get a copy. I'm so sorry, you guys. You didn't see that at all. But once you go over to that Beacons, you'll see the subscribe at the very top left. If you go on your cell phone, you're going to have to scroll up. It's going to be at the top left. It says subscribe. Go ahead and click on that bell. You're going to then put in your first, your last name, give me an email. And what's going to happen after that is following this training, you're going to get an email. And in the email, you're going to get a copy of the 5 tips on the money mapping. You're going to get that. You're also going to get this presentation that I have for you. So go ahead and subscribe right now. Go ahead. If you are on LinkedIn, go ahead to that link that's at the very bottom of this presentation. It says YouTube, the immigration therapist, beacons.ai/YG. Go ahead and subscribe. Put in your email information, and I'll send you this at the end of the presentation today. Okay, back to the presentation, you all. What are immigration evaluations? I basically talked about that, assessing mental status. You're basically assessing the mental status of the client. People think that because the petitioner or the applicant comes in and pays you, that they are your customer, so you are to be loyal to them. Create a product, a report that is in favor of them, and that's not the case. This is legal this is something that is going to be used for legal purposes. This evaluation needs to be as objective as possible. Although they pay you, they are the client, they pay you. Your job is not to rule in their favor. That is why I don't like people to know the ins and outs of the different applications, asylum, U visa, VAWA. I don't want you to know the different types very specifically, because you're going to try to tailor your report. You're going to try to tailor your questions to make sure that they fit the criteria for those applications that they may be applying for. We just want to be objective. State the facts, okay? And so assessing mental status, providing evidence in legal proceedings. So we are providing a legal document that is going to be used, inserted for evidence, okay? Supporting treatment and rehabilitation. So after we do these evaluations, we come up with our clinical findings, the conceptualization, we finish the report, we submit the report to our client, we present it to them. We need to go, if there are any psychological trauma, PTSD, depression, anxiety, any fear or any concern that they may be suffering from any mental health challenges, we make sure that we support them by giving them recommendations. Okay, we want to give them recommendations. And so that's the supporting treatment and rehabilitation part of that. Let's go to the next one. Evaluations may cover a wide range of mental health issues, including trauma, PTSD, depression, anxiety, and other psychological conditions resulting from experiences such as persecution, violence, or displacement. So when we think about providing this service, I want you all to think of not only impacting people's lives. People are very desperate when they come into your office. People are very, very hopeful that this evaluation that you offer them can help them keep their family together, can help them improve the quality of life that they will have. Your evaluation, your assessment could be entered into legal uh, documentation and evidence that could significantly change not one person, but tens of hundreds of people's lives. You've got to think about one person that you're doing this evaluation for. They have children, they have aunties, they have cousins, they have friends. And a lot of those people are family here in the United States of America. You will do an evaluation for somebody who's been here 17 years, 20 years, 10 years, 15 years, since they were the age of 4, 3, 2, since they were born, but don't have legal status. There's so many misconceptions that people have that the global community or immigrants, they don't know how to speak English. They don't have financial resources. They're broke. They're poor. Like, there's so many stigmas behind it. But you guys, I'm going to get on my soapbox. Okay. So let's look at the legal consideration. So this tab, I put it in gray, and the reason why it's in gray is because it's like gloomy. Like, to me, this is like the part of this. Okay. So I'm going to just like briefly run through this because I have to. It's almost like I ethically have to present this to you. So legal considerations whenever getting into immigration evaluations: adherence to immigration laws. Evaluations must be familiar with relevant immigration laws and regulations governing the evaluation process. So that's one of the main reasons why I give updates, and I want you all to follow me on LinkedIn. My wife and I just had a sit down, but wasn't really sitting down, about asylum updates. Just keeping abreast, like keeping up to date on asylum, what's happening with asylum here in the United States, because asylum is like the biggest application that a lot of migrants or immigrants apply for. So just kind of staying abreast of what's going on. And even if you join the Facebook group, my Facebook group, I'll drop those videos in there as well. But you need to definitely stay competent on what's going on with U.S. immigration. Confidentiality and privacy, we shouldn't have to go into that as professionals. We shouldn't have to talk about that. As a licensed mental health professional, you should know about HIPAA. You should know about clinicians must ensure that all information obtained during the evaluation process is handled with the utmost confidentiality and competence with applicable privacy laws. Like, y'all should know about that stuff. I shouldn't have to break that down. Confidentiality is always a big thing in our profession, always. Accountability Act, evaluation should maintain impartiality and objectivity. I talked about that maybe 2 or 3 times since I've been on this live. We have got to maintain our objectivity. Okay? Objectivity. We've got to be impartial whenever doing these evaluations. So that's basically what that's saying. We're not for our client. We're not against our client. We're not for the state. We're not against the state. So no matter what side of the aisle you are on when it comes to immigration, it doesn't matter as long as you are impartial whenever doing these reports. We're just focusing on a person's, an individual or family member's experiences and how it relates to their immigration status or proceedings. Okay. Accuracy and truthfulness. You don't want to spin the truth. You don't want to put any words in people's mind, like in their mouth, We don't want to talk about what a person meant to say or how they are feeling unless they state it. Everything is objective. It needs to be factual based off of statements or proof, evidence supported. Okay? Supported evidence. So, accuracy and truthfulness, I always put a disclaimer in my evaluations. Whenever I do these evaluations, I make sure that I state something to the effect that the information provided is believed to be true. In fact, the client and the clinician reviewed the the consequences of not stating the truth and how that can be a liability to their case. Like, I state something to the fact that you need to be truthful in this evaluation. I understood these things to be factual based off of their verbal commitment to be honest during the evaluation. Like, I make sure that I put a statement in there that protects me from anything that may come out that is infactual, that is a lie from the client. Let's move on. I don't have that many slides, you all. Ethical considerations, another one, informed consent. Like, we shouldn't have to go over this as professionals, but I know some of you are students, and so that is why it's so important for me to get you this slide, this whole presentation. So be sure that you all subscribe on my email list on that Beacons link. Okay, continuing education and competence. Even if you are providing these immigration evaluations, jump into these webinars that I have. Thank you for the likes on TikTok. I appreciate that. Make sure that you are continuously learning about immigration evaluations. That goes back to staying abreast to what's going on in U.S. immigration. So any laws that may be changing, any new trainings that you may, any brush up on assessments and testing that you can get, make sure that you are doing your due diligence to do that on an annual basis. Beneficence, beneficent, I can never say that, and non-maleficence, you all, as professionals, we are taught not to cause more harm. I do that a lot on my social media. I be triggering people on my social media. But how it relates to immigration evaluations and servicing the global community, you're in an assessment evaluation with an individual, and you're asking about their Give me a second here. I want to make sure that I'm still on because I got a notification stating that the volume on my mic is not working. So I want to make sure that I am still in operation and you all can hear me. Let me see. If y'all are on TikTok, if you can still hear me, give me a 1. Thank you so much for joining, babysitter. Give me a 1 in the comments, and if you can still hear me. Yanit. Okay, awesome. Yanet's joining me on is joining me on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for joining me. Okay, let's get back into the presentation. And I think we only have like 1 or 2 more slides left, and I think I'm on time. Okay, so qualified evaluators. Immigration evaluations should be conducted by licensed mental health professionals. I talked about this at the very beginning of my life. You need to be fully licensed to do this work. Cultural sensitivity. So you need to have that cultural sensitivity. If you go in there with a bias of, oh, you're just trying to seek asylum like everybody else, and you really don't need to be here, or you're just coming here to ruin our, like, you need to be objective when you go into this niche, but you also need to be sure to be cultural sensitive to people's backgrounds and their history. You don't know what these people have gone through. Everybody has a different story, although they may sound similar. Okay. Documentation. Evaluation reports should be comprehensive, clearly written, and tailored to meet legal requirements. Let me tell you all about the documentation. A lot of clinicians are qualified to do immigration evaluations, but their writing sucks. They've been practicing for 10, 15 years, 5 years, 6 years. They haven't written a report or a paper since grad school. Like, they've got grammatical errors, they've got all types of mistakes going on, and their work sucks. It has nothing to do, their clinical writing skills suck. And so underneath documentation, you need to take a course or a training to beef up your skills if you've been out of school for so long. Even if you've been in school and you're not familiar with doing clinical writing, you're not familiar with clinical writing skills, you need to take a course. Okay. Ethical considerations. Ethical guidelines require evaluators to maintain objectivity, avoid bias, and prioritize the well-being of the individuals they assess, regardless of the outcome of their immigration case. Impact. Immigration evaluations can have significant consequences for individuals' lives, affecting their legal status, access to protection, and overall mental health and well-being. As such, conducting thorough and accurate evaluations is crucial for promoting justice and supporting vulnerable immigration populations. Let me talk about that. When we think of how much we can impact people's lives in the therapy space, y'all give me 1 second. My TikTok is disconnected. Hold on. Okay. All right. So when we think about it just threw me off track here. When we think about when we are in therapy and we are meeting with clients who have severe depression, suicidal ideations, marital relationship, divorce is on the line, and we are meeting with these people, we think about how what we say, what we do in therapy can impact their life significantly. I want you to think about that same situation magnified. You think if you have a client who is suicidal, homicidal, what is more crucial than that? I'm going to tell you that immigration evaluations are on a whole different level. I'm not saying that it's more important. I'm not saying it's more valued. I'm not saying that the work that you do on paper in front of an immigration client or an applicant is more important than someone who is suicidal. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that is on a different level. It really is. And the reason why I say that is because you're impacting so many people's lives. Like your evaluation can impact so many people's lives, not just the person in front of you. I mean, a lot of different people. This person could be the breadwinner that is sending money back to their family that is feeding 100 people. This person, I mean, there's so many levels to this. It's not even funny. This person could be facing deportation, and they have a child, two, three children under the age of 5, and they're going to be separated if they are deported, if that person is deported. Because it would be and the government gives them an opportunity. We will relocate your whole family. We'll send you and your wife to your home country, or we'll send you and your kids to your home country if you are deported. But the lifestyle, the quality of life for them living in Honduras, Guatemala, it's not going to be as high quality here in the United States. So you essentially have families who are separating. Think about the trauma that happens when that occurs. Think about how a father is not present in a little girl's life as she grows up, not present. He can be on Skype, he can be on video conference, WhatsApp, but it's not the same thing when father is there, dad is there. It's just not the same. The potential impact that you have as a clinician conducting immigration evaluations is on a whole different level. I'll leave it at that. And I think evaluation process, I think I give you a breakdown. Let me see. Okay. So I give you a breakdown of how these evaluations are conducted. Okay. Basic breakdown. Background information, reason for evaluation, clinical interview, screeners and questionnaires. It goes to the self-report measures that you hand to your client, or you can read to your client. They'll answer them. Typically, we want to assess for depression, anxiety, or PTSD. We want to give screeners in those 3 areas. Results and interpretation, your findings, or the conceptualization, clinical conceptualization, symptoms and functioning, discussion of how the individual psychological condition affects their daily functioning and quality of life. So basically, how their trauma or their experience negatively impacts them today, and why it would be best for them to stay in the United States of America, or why it would be so detrimental to send them back to their old country or home country. Linked to immigration case, explanation of the relationship between the individual's mental health. So I kind of talked about that. So the mental health aspect, like link the mental health challenges that they have to the legal proceedings of the immigration case. So basically, that's what you're doing professionally in your articulation on paper. How long do these evaluations take? These are frequently asked questions. Okay. When I first started, and one evaluation would take me 1 day. And I say 1 day, 8-hour day. So let's just say 8 hours. One evaluation. So that is from me interviewing, that is from me offering them the self-report measures, them completing them from beginning end. If I'm working with an interpreter, all of that, 8 hours. To write the report at the very beginning took me 8 hours. Then I started learning how to prioritize, manage, and I got better at writing. Then I bumped it down to 3 hours of writing, 2 hours of meeting with them, breaking it down, explaining it to them, explaining the report to them, 2.5 hours. So I broke it down to 5 hours. Now I'm to the point to where I can assess, I can meet with the client 2 hours at max, one at the beginning, one at the final session. And if I need to call them, get more information or clarity on something, that's 2 hours, and I'll finish a report beginning to end 2 hours, total of 4 hours. Okay. That is my time, but that is me eating, that is me taking breaks, that is me scrolling on social media, that is me doing me. Okay. So that is my journey. That has been my experiences. Okay. That has been my experience. I didn't have a coach, I didn't have a training to teach me all the tips that I give you guys when it comes to writing these reports. How much can you charge for these evaluations? Now, that question is unethical for me to just set, okay? And the reason why I can't set out numbers is because it sets industry standards. What I mean by industry standards is if I tell you you can charge anywhere between 500 and $2,000, the cap would be $2,000, or the minimum, the average would be at 1,000 or 1,250. Okay, and it sets an industry. So if someone, a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a nurse practitioner or someone qualified to do these evaluations came in and said, I charge $5,000 or $3,000, and they live in California, right? It'd be like, whoa, wait a minute. And so you can't just really set industry standards. And so whatever you want to charge, then that's what you charge, basically. Now, I can talk about what I have charged in my past. When I first started, I was being reimbursed $300. Now, I was not getting these clients on my own. I was using a third party agency to get these clients. They took out a cut, and I would get only paid $300. Then from $300, I started doing these reports independently. I started charging 500. From 5, I went to 6. Really quick, I went to 8. And then from 8,000, I went to 1,000. And it depends. Now it depends on the case. It's a case by case basis, and I kind of fluctuate up and down. If there's a family with 2 kids, I may charge them $700 a piece, $600 a piece. It just depends because those reports are individually written and they're separate interviews. And although they are in the same family, it's still 2 different evaluations. So I charge accordingly. So it just depends on you and how much you want to charge. And so whenever my course currently is at $397. When I tell clinicians to invest in themselves in this, I say start off with at least $500 or $400, so that way you get your money back from investing in this course. You see how that works? So you purchase the course for $400. The first case that you get, you charge them $400, so you get your money back, if that makes sense. So I encourage my clinicians to start off with $400 just to get their money back. How do you get referrals and clients? Now that question, okay, so that question right there is very, very convoluted. There's so many different ways to market your niche. So many. One of the ways that I've seen some of my competitors put it out there is getting on a directory. And that is something that I don't agree with. If you look at Psychology Today is one of the largest directories for mental health clinicians who provide therapy services. And so, that is one of the best ways to get in front of new clients besides your own algorithm using Google SEO and things of that, your website, things of that nature. And so when we look at how can I get more clients to do this work? How can I get an influx? How can I get just a regular stream of people coming in my office every single week, 3 or 4 referrals every single week, and I'm making $3,000 or more doing immigration evaluations every single week? And the answer to that is relationships. Like that is basically your main client, your target audience are immigration lawyers. Once you get the relationship with one or two immigration lawyers, you should be pretty good as far as a side hustle. Because one or two relationships with immigration lawyers, they start speaking. They're in a community, they're in Facebook group chats, they are in uh, messaging apps on their cell phones, and they talk to each other. And oh, I know a clinician, I know a therapist who writes really good reports. I'll go ahead and send you their information. I have an immigration therapist who does great work, and the turnaround is in 5 days, in 6 days. I'll give you their information. It's about relationships. But I talk about this in depth on how you can market your service, your niche of doing immigration evaluations. Thank you so much, babysitter, for the likes. I do see you. I definitely see you. Thank you for the love. But there's so many different ways that you can market this niche to your ideal client. So many different ways. And I put that in the course, in the training. And that leads me to question number 5 for how can I get started? And it's very simple. It's very simple. Invest in yourself by learning through a training, a course. You don't have to use mine. You don't have to go through me. There are so many clinicians who have gone through my Facebook course, who have watched my webinars, who have looked at my trainings, who have come into my space, got introduced to immigration evaluations, and decided to learn from someone else. Usually it's a Spanish speaker. I don't take offense to that. I understand. I understand. I get it. And so because I am helping people understand and learn and introduce them to immigration evaluations, I get satisfied that way. Building a community of clinicians on Facebook, that is an accomplishment for me. And I love that. I love teaching. I love giving value. I love it. So one of the easiest ways that you can get started in immigration evaluations is learning how to do this work, the ins and outs, the legal proceedings, the legal process. You want to make sure that you are trained up. And the reason for that is because, one, you don't want to malpractice it. Two, you want to be able to justify in a court, legal season, on your paper, how are you qualified to do immigration evaluations? Because unfortunately, you going through a master's program is not enough. You being licensed is not enough. It's not enough. You taking CEUs, it's not enough. You need to have written proof, a documentation, a certificate of completion. You need to have something to show that you have taken an in-depth course on immigration proceedings, evaluations. Okay? You have to. You have to. The reason why I say have to is because you have to justify how you were qualified. You have to. None of you have gone through a master's program that specializes in immigration law, immigration evaluations, immigration, U.S. immigration. None of you. And so that's why you need to go ahead and take you a course. Let's head over to let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and share with you one last screen, and that is the beacons. Okay, so the beacons link that I use on my TikTok, on uh, basically all my social media platforms, is the link for your guide to immigration evaluations. I have another one on Therapy Swagger. That beacons link is not for immigration services. But the TikTok that I have, Mr. Immigration, I believe, Mr. _immigration, that beacons link is the one that you see right here on your screen if you are joining me on LinkedIn or on YouTube. And I want to point you all to YG course registration. We're going to go to YG course registration. And on this platform, you're going to see the sign up page. And when you scroll down, you're going to see testimonials, you'll see 2 sets of testimonials, then you'll see the price. It's at $397. So the price $397 is increasing today to $497. At the end of this training, at midnight tonight, it goes up to $497. I have it scheduled to midnight tonight. So midnight tonight, this goes up from $397 to $497. And the reason for that is because I have created a product that I am satisfied. I am satisfied with it. I'm so satisfied with it. I'm so confident in my product that the value needs to be there. And really, because you can make money doing this for the rest of your professional career, it should be $1,500. It should be $2,000. But I had vowed at the very beginning that I would max out at $500. So it's currently priced at $397. Tonight it goes up to $497. Here's another benefit to joining me. When you register with me, you become an affiliate. When you become an affiliate, anybody that you recommend to take this course, you send them your link, and now you receive $100 per person you refer to me. Anybody who signs up through your link, you will receive $100. So I raise the value to $497, but I lose $100 to give to you for recommending or referring one of your colleagues to learn from me. The goal is to have your guide to immigration evaluations everywhere. Every grad school program, every student across the state of Texas, California, New York, New Jersey, Washington State, Washington, Florida, Georgia. I want every student to know, every master's level student that comes out of a psychology program to know that immigration evaluations is a way to increase revenue, income, and is a great source of revenue for your business. I want every clinician, every future clinician to know that. So I'll never blow up my price to a substantial amount of money to where you have to decide whether you should pay your car note or wait for income tax money to come. I'll never do that. $497 is going to be the price for your guide to immigration evaluations, and you can learn to fish for a lifetime. That's all I've got for you. If you have any questions, I want you to ask them. I know that I've gotten some notifications on LinkedIn. And thank you, Caesar, for joining the live. I appreciate it. I know a bunch of you were in and out. I've been on for an hour and 15 minutes, so I went 15 minutes over. I'm going to go ahead and respond to some questions to 1059. So he asked this 16 minutes ago. The answer to your question is yes. This training will be available for those who subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I say YouTube because LinkedIn, once this live is over, it's taken off the platform, I believe. So if it stays up, awesome. But I believe on my YouTube channel, it will be up for sure. And you can watch that for a lifetime. Yes, this training. The immigration therapist. I know that for sure. I don't know about LinkedIn. Let me go ahead and take that on. So you all, I really hope that this has helped you. I know a bunch of you were not with me because it is Saturday morning. It's time to hit the streets and do what you do. I get that. I mean, it is what it is. And so that's why we have replay. So I thank y'all for joining my live. This is Jeremiah J. Rankins, licensed professional counselor out here in the state of Texas, the immigration therapist. And I hope to see you on the next live that I have.